In today's episode of the Pathway Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Jake Letwin, and he's hailing over from the folks over at Luxolis. And they're working in a very interesting space, capturing, sharing, collaborating in 3D for architects, engineers, and any types of construction workers in the head office. So let's talk about Luxolis, what it can do, and how people can leverage it. So welcome to the show.
Hey there, happy to be here.
Sure, Jake. Maybe give people a quick overview. What is Luxolis all about in your own words?
Yeah, so Luxolis is a 3D reconstruction startup based out of Toronto, Canada. Essentially, what that means is we have an app and an upcoming hardware scanner as well. But essentially, with those services for the app, for example, it's completely free to use and can be downloaded right now from the App Store. I can take a quick video of a room, and the app will output a fully rendered 3D model of the environment with all the textures of the objects. And within that model, you can actually take measurements of real world objects, tag items of interest, and even comment, discuss, between the field and head office, all through our associated web platform called Luxolis 3D Connect. So,
very cool. Now, what is available on the free option, and where are the boundaries of it?
Yeah, so actually, where we are right now, as I mentioned, we're a startup, and we're just looking to improve our offerings right now. So, as of right now, everything is completely free. There are no tiers on the app or the web application. It is all completely free to use. That's all the features. That's the scanning and the models themselves. That's the tagging of items of interest. That's the cross collaboration and commenting through the web application. That's the measuring functionality. We also have volume estimation that's been recently implemented. And frankly, we actually have a new release for the app with a bunch of new features coming out today as well. And all of that is completely free to use.
Very cool. So does that work inside rooms? Does it work outside for
Yes.
inside houses?
So it's pretty versatile. It can work inside, outside rooms, environment. You could go to a park and scan just as effectively as if you were scanning in, an office space, for example. It's really up to you. And the size of the scan is pretty forgiving. You can go quite big, and the real barrier is just, as the scan gets bigger, it takes more time for the model to process, because obviously there's more data there, but that's about the only restriction, really.
It's a whole lot of sense. And who do you use? I mean, of course, we talked about the general sort of, user base, but is there specific use cases where this is particularly helpful? Maybe walk us through when this is really, a lifesaver.
Yeah, absolutely. So the three main target markets right now are, as you mentioned, architects, engineers, and builders. But more specifically with that, the ideal use case is someone on a job site can take a quick scan of an environment, and then head office can immediately and at the same time be looking at that same model, start tagging items of interest. This needs to be repaired. I don't like the color of this wall. Let's fix that. Taking measurements for things they need to order. We need a new countertop here. Let's take those measurements and figure out. So it's reducing all the travel time and whatnot of having to constantly send people to job sites to do those things, because someone on the job site with their app or with the hardware that we have coming out can get that information to head office without those people at head office having to actually travel all the way there and back. And the other thing is collaborating remotely. They can discuss and, make plans and make decisions from the people on the job site and at head office all together through the platform at any time.
Gotcha. That makes a whole lot of sense. Now, would it allow them to also do sort of those 3D presentations in order to sort of scan and show what it would look like once they do renovation types of works? Or
precisely, yeah. So you can also export. We have no restrictions on what you do with your 3D models once you create them. So if someone were to take a scan with our app, they jump on the website, the web application, and they're playing around with it, and they're like, oh, I want to play with this model or make edits to it in Blender or SolidWorks or any of the leading AutoCAD, any of the leading CAD software programs. We let you export your models in a variety of file formats, and you can do with those models as you please. We're also soon implementing the ability to upload directly to Sketchfab from our platform, which is a huge, I think they have over 10 million members, and they're a user base or a marketplace for 3D models as well.
Gotcha. Very cool. Now, how do people learn about Luxolis? What's their journey looking like?
Luxolis was founded 2 years ago. Our website is a great place. I'm actually in the process of redoing the website top to bottom right now. We're getting very close to the end. So very proud of the new look of the website. It's not 100% done, but it's in progress. So very proud of that. The website is our main, just because obviously with the tech we have, I think the barrier to explaining what we do and having a potential customer understand what we do and what our value add is a little bit higher. So a website with, extensive information on what our products are and what they can provide to someone is very important to us. So our website's full of educational content, a lot of articles on the different implementations of 3D tech and LiDAR. And, obviously socials, of course. YouTube's another big one for us, simply because, again, with a product like ours or a product line like ours, the education part is really important. So being able to show people as opposed to tell them, and have people visualize for themselves what we're doing and how it works is really beneficial, we found.
Very cool. Now, in a case like this, how do you, as a marketer, think about conversions? Is that something you measure, you consider? What does it play in the role of that on the website?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, that's very important. For us right now, our biggest, at this stage where we are, our biggest thing is just getting people to try out the platform and the app and give us feedback so that we, get it to the place where we want it to be. Because obviously, it can't be free forever, but we're at a spot where we want to improve it before we feel comfortable, having any form of SaaS model to it. So for that is our CTA is always pushing to download the app. It's completely free, and we just want people to get on the app, grow that user base, and have people give us feedback on what features they want, what features they like, etc. So our big CTA is always pushing to download the app.
Sounds really good. I'd love to sort of, switch gears a little bit and talk about yourself as a marketer a little bit. Like what we you mentioned the website there, but what would be, stuff that you would be involved with on a daily basis? How should we imagine a typical day?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it's a startup, small company. I wear a lot of hats. I'm the marketing lead here, but that has a variety of tasks. Obviously I oversee all the socials, so all our accounts and whatnot, what's being posted in our scheduling for all our social media content, something I'm responsible for. I'm responsible for a team that's building out the website and whatnot, as well as I mentioned. The website's been a big focus. We're also, trade shows have been very beneficial to us just because of the form of products we have. Again, that being able to demonstrate is very beneficial to us. So trade shows and expos representing the company have been big for us as well. And that's all stuff that I am heavily involved in.
Very cool. Now, I got some rapid fire questions to sort of fully wrap up the episode for today. Are you ready for those?
Let's go.
What is the last book you read or the last podcast you listened to?
The last book I read, it's called The Shadow and the Claw. It's a very, very old fiction book. And it's widely regarded as one of the best fiction series of all time. It definitely is. It's interesting. The way it's written is very unlike modern day books. So that's what really attracted me after some good reviews from friends.
Very cool. What's the one single thing that you guys are focusing on the most at Luxolis?
We are focusing on really, I don't want to say popularizing, but making 3D technology accessible to more people. 3D tech isn't inherently new per se, but its adoption by the wider audience has been very slow, as people, I think, struggle to understand the benefits it can have for them in their working day, in their business. So for us, it's really educating people on not only what the tech is, but how it can be implemented in what they already are doing and save time and money for them in that way.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, next question. If you would have a magic wand as a marketer, what's the one thing that you would change for your role as a marketer?
My role or for
your role as a marketer, like one, or maybe one thing in general that marketers.
I think for me, I'm a big thing as a marketer. I'm branding and brand consistency is very important to me. That's kind of my big thing, is making sure a brand's messaging and voice and every little detail is consistent across all platforms at all times. If I could wave a magic wand, it would be to make sure that happens, and that the brand elements and the brand guidelines are respected and adhered to on all platforms in every communication at all times everywhere.
Very cool. Very last question. If today would be your very first day joining Luxolis, what's the one advice you would give yourself for that journey?
Ooh, that's a good question. One advice, don't be afraid to do things that you're arguably unqualified for, because you're going to learn along the way. And I think people will be willing to help you through things that you might yourself not be familiar with. People are always willing to help, and just do it, or at least attempt it. And, surround yourself with people that can up level you and get you where you need to be.
Very cool. Jay, I really appreciate you took the time with us today to be a guest on Pathwing Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If people would be forgetting all that we discussed about Luxolis, what's the one thing people should remember?
Download our completely free to use app. We're a 3D reconstruction startup out of Canada. We're very proud of what we're doing. And I encourage anyone to just, at the very least, check it out. It's on iOS. The only restriction is you have to have a Pro model because of the LiDAR sensor on the Pro model iPhones and iPads. It's free to use. Check it out. Make some cool models. I scanned a Lamborghini the other day and it turned out great. So it's fun to just play around with. So I encourage everyone to check it out.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathwing Presents.
Thank you so much for having me.